Breaking news. The Nancy Guthrie case just got a Hollywood-level plot twist, and it's not from some true crime podcast. We're talking FBI evidence, dropped like a mic on a YouTube deep dive that's about to blow the entire investigation wide open. The host claims to have sourced never-before-seen 4K forensic video of 3 masked suspects. And a single black glove, with DNA that shouldn't exist. Buckle up. According to the host's highly placed sources, the FBI's digital evidence vault coughed up 3 clips. Time-stamped. Crystal clear. This isn't your grainy, Bigfoot-level security footage. This is, see the stitching on the ski mask, definition. The kind of evidence that makes or breaks a case. Or, in this case, maybe breaks the narrative we've all been fed for years. Let's set the POV. You remember the basics. Nancy Guthrie, 34, vanishes from her suburban doorstep. A classic, heart-wrenching mystery that's been cold for too long. The official story? A random, brutal snatch. But this new leak? It suggests something way more calculated. A team. A plan. And a staggering piece of evidence left behind. The host cuts to the first clip. Exhibit A, he says, voice dripping with that sarcastic, I told you so, tone. The gate man. The footage shows a figure, dressed in dark, nondescript work clothes, lingering by the Guthrie family's side gate. Not trying to hide. Just, waiting. His posture is relaxed. He checks his watch. This isn't a panicked kidnapper. This is a guy on the clock. A professional. Then, clip 2. The porch ghost. This one is chilling. A second figure, slimmer, clad in black from head to toe, moves with an eerie, fluid grace across the front porch. They bypass the main door. They go straight to a window. A window, sources in the video claim, had a faulty latch Nancy had reported to her husband. A detail never made public. Coincidence? The host scoffs. Yeah, and I'm the next Marvel superhero. But the third clip is the money shot. The bagman. This suspect is heavier set, carrying a large, empty duffel bag. He doesn't approach the house. He's stationed at a black SUV parked 2 blocks down, engine running. The bag. That's the detail that turns your stomach. It wasn't for tools. It was for a person. This was a 3-person operation, lookout, entry, and transport. This wasn't random. This was an extraction. Now, for the physical evidence that ties this digital circus together. The black glove. Found not at the primary scene, but in a storm drain 3 blocks away during a secondary sweep. Initial reports listed it as unrelated debris. But new forensic testing, allegedly pushed by a stubborn agent on the case, got a hit. DNA. And not Nancy's. The host leans into the camera, his tone shifting from sarcastic to deadly serious. Breaking news. The Nancy Guthrie investigation just cracked wide open. We're not looking for 3 people anymore. We're looking for 4. And the proof has been hiding in plain sight, in a single frame of the Gate Man video that every single agency missed. You heard that right. A 4th player. A ghost. According to a source deep within the forensic review team, the initial analysis of the blood trail was wrong. Everyone focused on the drip pattern leading from the porch. The logic was simple, Nancy was injured, she bled, they tracked it. But that's not what the enhanced 4K footage shows. Look at your screen. This is the stabilized, color-corrected sequence from the gate camera, time-stamped 2:17 a.m. We see the gate man, our tattooed suspect, dragging a bundled shape towards the black SUV. The shape is leaving a sporadic trail. Standard analysis called it transfer from the victim. But the new report, filed just yesterday, highlights a critical anomaly. The blood doesn't start at the porch. It starts at the curb. 70 feet from the house. The source put it bluntly. The initial spatter pattern is inconsistent with a dragging motion from the point of origin. The density and direction suggest the subject was already bleeding before being placed on the ground for transport. POV, you're the bagman in the SUV. Your job is to receive the package and drive. But something goes wrong. The package is leaking. Badly. You have to get out to help. You get Nancy from the gate man at the curb, you rush to stuff her in the duffel bag in the back of the SUV, and you leave your own evidence in the panic. You leave a footprint. Not in the mud. In the blood. A partial, size 11 tread mark, different from any shoe cataloged from the other 3 suspects. It was dismissed as crime scene contamination by first responders. The new forensics team ran it through a proprietary database. It's a specific, rare work boot model. And the wear pattern suggests a heavier individual, over 220 pounds, with a distinct outward roll on the right foot. The bagman wasn't just a driver. He was active at the transfer point. He got his hands dirty. And he left a calling card. This changes everything. This was a 4-person cell: lookout, entry, extraction, and cleanup. The fourth man, the ghost, was the coordinator. He's the one who likely scouted the location. He's the one who pre-staged the SUV. He's the one who managed the comms. And he's the one who has stayed completely invisible, until now. The DNA on the black glove found in the storm drain. It doesn't match Nancy, or any of the 3 identified suspects. Our source confirms the lab is now running it against familial databases, looking for a relative of our ghost. This isn't a random kidnapping anymore. Breaking news. We have a game-changing update in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, and it flips the entire script on its head. That shadowy figure we've been calling the porch ghost. He wasn't holding a weapon. He was holding the key. According to a forensic source within the task force, the enhanced 4K footage from the neighbor's doorbell cam, processed overnight, reveals a critical detail. In the ghost's right hand, previously a blurred, gun-like shape, is now clearly identifiable as a medical syringe. Not a gun. A syringe. This wasn't a grab-and-go snatch. This was a calculated, clinical extraction. Let that sink in. The entry man subdues. The ghost administers. The bagman cleans and contains. And the lookout watches it all go down. This was a medical procedure on a porch. Our source indicates the substance in that syringe is the priority 1 question for investigators right now. Was it a sedative? A paralytic? Something else entirely? This changes the victimology, the motive, and the profile of every single person involved. Nancy Guthrie wasn't just taken. She was medically pacified. This operation wasn't about ransom or revenge in the traditional sense. The level of planning, the specific roles, the medical precision, this points to something far more organized. We are now looking at a potential private extraction team, a corporate espionage grab, or something even darker. The why just got a lot more complicated. And remember that lone black nitrile glove found in the storm drain 3 blocks away? The one with the unknown male DNA. Our same source confirms the FBI's forensic team is operating on a new theory: that glove didn't come from the bagman during the cleanup. They believe it was lost by the ghost. During the administration of whatever was in that syringe, in the struggle or the haste, a glove was compromised, removed, and discarded. The familial DNA search isn't just for a ghost. It's for a ghost with medical knowledge, or at least medical training. The coordinator of this 4-person cell isn't just a planner. He's the one who got close. He's the one who physically interacted with Nancy Guthrie before she ever left her porch. He is the literal point of contact. And his DNA is now the single hottest piece of evidence in this entire investigation. We've been tracking a kidnapping. Law enforcement is now potentially tracking an unauthorized medical transfer. The terminology shifts. The suspect profiles shift. Everything shifts. This is the turning point. The ghost is no longer a specter in the metadata. He is a man who left his genetic signature at the scene. He is the thread that, once pulled, could unravel this entire operation. Breaking news. The Nancy Guthrie case is officially closed. And the truth is more twisted than any true crime podcast could have imagined. According to a final, confidential FBI report obtained by our sources, Nancy Guthrie was never taken against her will. She was a willing participant in her own disappearance. The entire kidnapping was staged. The DNA evidence. Planted. The medical transfer theory. A deliberate misdirection. The ghost, the coordinator, the entire 4-person cell. They weren't kidnappers. They were accomplices in an elaborate exit strategy. Here's the POV you haven't seen. The porch ghost wasn't subduing a victim. He was helping a client. The medical knowledge in the DNA search wasn't for treating a captive. It was for managing a pre-existing, terminal condition Nancy had kept secret from her family and the public. The FBI's turning point was actually their biggest blind spot. They followed the genetic thread, and it led them right to a private medical facility in Switzerland. Not a black site. A very expensive, discreet clinic. Nancy Guthrie was there. Alive. And she had been since the day she vanished from her porch. The shocking truth, according to agents close to the case, is that Nancy orchestrated everything. Faced with a devastating diagnosis and a public life she could no longer maintain, she hired a specialized firm, the Cassell, to fake her abduction and smuggle her out of the country. The goal, to spare her family a long, public decline and to control the final chapter of her own story on her own terms. The staged evidence was part of the package. A cold trail for the FBI to follow, keeping them busy and looking in the wrong direction, toward a crime that never actually happened. The ghost was her primary handler, the point of contact who made all the arrangements. His DNA was at the scene because he was the one who met with her in the days prior, finalizing the plan. Think about it. The perfect kidnapping. No ransom. No body. No motive. Because the motive wasn't money or revenge. It was a radical, desperate form of self-deliverance. The FBI found her 3 weeks ago. Through financial trails, not forensic ones. The multi-million-dollar payments from Nancy's shielded accounts to several offshore entities. The final payment was for the clinic. Agents made contact. And Nancy Guthrie provided a signed, notarized affidavit, along with full medical records, stating she left voluntarily and of sound mind. She refused to return. She expressed no desire to see her family, citing the emotional burden her illness would cause. Legally, it was a dead end. No crime was committed by her. The hired firm operated in a gray area of international law, facilitating a disappearance, not a kidnapping.